I'm the president of the Louisville Urban League at a time in our country when really there is so much at risk. In my view, it is as bad as it has ever been. And what I know is that people who do not feel heard or seen or valued can become violent. And none of us are born violent. These are things that are learned. America owes our community, the Black community, something. Let me illustrate. When Trayvon Martin was murdered, I remember feeling so sorry for his family. And then I watched and I listened as this entire country, and it felt like the whole country, demonized that child. I remember that they went through his school records. I remember that they tried to figure out what was he doing, what did he do wrong. And I thought about what it must feel like to be the mother of the child who was murdered and never allowed for a moment to be a victim. I wondered what it was like to be the father who decided that your son could go to the store to get Skittles and a drink for his little brother, and then have everything about your world be questioned. I wonder what it felt like to walk into a store or into a place and see other parents consoled when their children were sick or maybe had passed, but your child, you spend a year defending, trying to explain that he was not a monster, that he was loved by somebody. What I know is that kind of pain can never lead to anything good. When George Zimmerman was arrested and rearrested and rearrested, I imagined that someday all of the largest newspapers in the world would put on the front of their pages on the very same day, "We are sorry to the Martin family. It seems that your son was in fact a victim." It didn't happen. It is really not about placing blame, because we have to move from that. We have to figure out how to fix what is broken. But sometimes America does need to say, "I'm sorry." And who is America? I'm America. You are America. And as James Baldwin once said, I love America more than any other country in this world. And for that reason, I will criticize her perpetually. We need this country to be as great as it can be. And we need all of us to be able to contribute to that. For the Urban League, jobs, justice, education, health, and housing. My 44 years of life have taught me that, in fact, these are the things that lead to reduced violence, that end violence, that save lives. There is no other group in this country less responsible for its existence or condition in this country than Black America. And it is time for America to do more. And that is all of us. What I know is that tomorrow is not promised to any of us. We all have a level of privilege. Some have more than others, but we all have something. And it is time for us to take responsibility about how we characterize each other. So, for example, right here in Louisville, there was an incident after Thanksgiving at St. Matthew's Mall. I am wise enough to know that there was never 2,000 kids. I am wise enough to know that there was never 1,000 kids. I am wise enough to know that there was no riot. There is never a riot where glass to the mall is not broken, stores are not looted. It did not happen. But there is something about brown skin that America needs to deal with. The time for knee-jerk reaction is over. We owe each other something. An Oklahoma City police officer has been convicted of rape. He is a serial rapist. He chose poor black women. He was convicted for the rape of 13 of those women. And the Oklahoma City Police Department did the right thing. They investigated, they found out he was charged, he was convicted, he is in prison. But he chose the women because they were poor and they were black. And he knew that no one would believe. And in this time of 24-hour news cycles, some of us almost didn't even know about the story. What is it about our brown skin that never allows us to even be a victim under those circumstances? Why don't our stories make the news? I mean, really make the news, like the bad ones do. We are not, nor have we ever been, what was least among us. None of us. I am wise enough to know that I need you. And I hope that you are wise enough to know that you need me. The path to nonviolence is to sit down together and to be honest about what is right with us and to be honest about what is wrong with us. We cannot be better if we do not acknowledge our past, learn from it, and grow from it. There is no space for blame, but there is always room for I'm sorry. America, Black America, all of America, the path to nonviolence is really about truth, about reconciliation. There is an elephant in the room. We cannot ignore it. People who do not feel heard, who do not feel seen, have to stand in the street and yell that Black lives matter. Not because somebody else's life doesn't. We have evidence that everybody else's life matters. But where is the evidence that mine does? The path to nonviolence is truth.